And just like that, here we are again. It's Friday. TGIF.
Let go. Asteroid of fear.
And welcome to another episode of Unfiltered Friday here at the Men in the House podcast. That is a sigh of, hmm, yeah. I don't know if that's relief, a little pause for the cause, because just thinking about all I'm going to need to do in the morning, what tomorrow's going to be like, how the week has been. It's been like one long week since last Unfiltered Friday. And even, I think 26, I mean, man, 20, it feels really just like an extension of 2025. Like I went into community college. Or actually it feels a bit more like when I graduated a year early. Uh I needed four classes, like two Englishes, and economics and government for my senior year. And so I took home summer one and two. And then once I got done, just took the old grades up there and got my diploma and didn't have to waste a whole year dicking around. So, yeah, man, for the viewers, I am just noticing how much this little gray patch in my beard is like it's almost like matching the microphone. I'm gonna have to get a black microphone cover because this is gray, man. But maybe it's the lighting, something super accentuating it, showing my age. It's all those sighs coming out. Yes, sir. Anywho, what, how, what has it been since last Friday? Man, well, for starters, I did an in-person interview with Daniel Mondragon. And I'm going to be trying to release that Monday. We'll just see how things go because the idea is like Monday interview, Friday unfiltered Friday, but Daddy's been slacking on the interviews, so and but yeah, I had to break down the setup. I did it at my dad's house because he has like a little four top, so it gave us a little side view, and yeah, it was a good interview. I think 2.5 hours roughly recording. Daniel's a gentleman I met at a men's group for the LifeWave X39 patches. I believe I showed you guys. If you guys aren't, for the viewers, you can see. Boom, boom. Yeah, talk a little bit about those maybe here in a minute. But I met him at a men's event, uh, and we just happened to be sitting, eating together, barbecue, and yeah, he got my number, gave me a text, and we met up. He wanted to talk about podcasting, so we had coffee one day, and then it was probably last Friday, Thursday or Friday, I think. And then I was kind of like, "Hey, you wanna?" Kind of like it was interesting. I was supposed to have coffee with two different people, and when I was on my way to the second one, he canceled. So I actually called Daniel back and was like, "Hey, man, I can actually come back and we can look at some stuff, continue the conversation." But he had some errands to run, so I was like, "How about we just do an interview since I don't know a lot about you." Because we were talking about podcasting and a little bit about how I got into it, so it was mostly about me. And so I was like, how can I get to know him? I was like, I don't know a lot about you. How about I just interview you? And he had an opening, and I had an opening. So we set up at my dad's house, and it was a lot of fun in person. That's the idea. One day I would like to have a proper studio that people could fly in, drive in, and we could do a little interview action one day in the future. It's a coming. It's coming. I guess the question would be, you know, do I have a studio on the 12 acres I'm on? Get a little Sean Ryan esque where you could step off the back porch and shoot because we do have a gong down at the bottom of the hill that we shoot at target practice. That's a little bit how I grew up, shooting off the back porch. Or, would you go like a studio in town around other people? That's maybe. There is like this building I've been looking at. It's they have office suites available from like 350 a month. And I was like, it's close to my daughter's school, which is always good. And it's close to the park for walking and or leisuring, no loitering. But yeah, ideally, that's in the future. But home studio, that seems on the 12 acres. You could John Travolta it out. Maybe, we do have an eighth of a mile dirt road. I don't know that a Cessna would land on it, but Cleared Hot's helicopter could. Andy. But yeah, so that was cool. And then I don't know if it was Sunday, one day this week, might have been Sunday. Man, hmm, I cannot tell because did we have a Monday too? Like holiday, Martin Luther King, I believe. So my days are all jacked up. But I know I've gone and visited one of our people that we help out, which is a 45-minute hour drive there. Had some food, shoot the shit, and got back from that. Also attended a birthday party, a kid's birthday party, like at a soccer themed. Um, and that was, it had to be a day that they played football because I remember logging into YouTube TV so we could all watch the game. But it was kind of a cool place because they just, you rent out the space. It's got like indoor soccer courts, plus inflatables for kids, bathrooms, but it's not like, if you go to Urban Air or something like that, the kids get 2 hours and you get a table unless you rent a room. And, it's very like chop chop. Like, yeah, you got to get in and get out and be organized. And it's a whole thing and it's expensive. And you get what, like 10 people or, whatever your package is. And then for every extra person, it's like X amount more. This place was a flat fee, and the whole family could come. Um, all the in laws, everyone, because it wasn't either of our families, but it's other Latinos we know. And, every party, it's each one of them, there's like, I can't remember how many siblings this guy has, but they all have like five kids, and he's got a fifth one on the way. His wife is pregnant again, and that was kind of the joke. He's like, my father's like, man, if you ain't, you gotta have five. If you don't have five, you ain't shit. You don't belong in this family. And every Literally, like he's got the fifth on the way, and then I think the youngest brother's only got three. So there's still room, but they all got five. And so yeah, everybody comes, and then there's a little kitchenette you could use. We had pizza, like chips and queso, salad, fruit, and um, shit. Which reminds me, I should have told my wife she was just at Sam's to get grapes because the grapes we had from there were so good. Big grapes too, man. Big, sweet, juicy. And I remember her telling her she got them from there. Yeah, because just before I started recording, I just hauled in a Sam's load for the wife. She pulled up as I was outside getting ready because I knew it was coming. I could have been a bad husband and started recording, put the sign on the door, and she could have toted in, two cases of protein and some Pepsi Zeros and everything else. But no, I waited and did as a good husband should do. I took all the heavy shit in. Um, so yeah, she was there, and I totally fucking forgot about the grapes. But yeah, we watched football, hung out, and that was kind of cool because there was no limit on kids or family, and I think it was like 4 or 5 hours that the space was rented for, and so we didn't. It didn't feel like rushed. It was actually very leisurely and pretty fun, and all of them, even the older guys who got out and played. Um, where I grew up, we did not have soccer growing up at our school. It was so small. But my daughter liked soccer, and our oldest played soccer. But, you know, they all played, this family, they all played soccer at some point. And you could tell that they all had some experience because even, you had everywhere from the 50s, 40s, young, mid 20s to young bucks, man. 17, 15, 10. Um, all of them, though. They play, got some footwork. So yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a lot of fun. And then after that, I don't know, one of the days we had one of our clients, his house needed some pest control, and we had to do the whole removal of everything um, because they were going to bomb it, and so we put the entire kitchen and bathroom into totes, and these pest control people are supposed to come at like 1:32, the latest. I get like a text at 4:30, like, oh, they just showed up. And they drove like an hour and a half. I mean, it's just bananas that I guess this property management group doesn't use somebody local. Whoever it was had to drive from Dallas. And so they ended up only spraying. But I guess they sprayed intensely enough that, we're supposed to wait 3 days and then clean and then put it all back. But boy, it is just, it's so fucking hard to find good help. People with punctuality and time, what do you call it? Time hygiene. Poor fucking time hygiene. Always fucking late. I started off in the military, and it's you're fucking on time, you're late. You know, everywhere early. Get there early. Huh. Yeah, early is on time. On time is late. Late, you're fucking fired. Get the fuck out. Hmm. Yeah. So, but not only that, it's like it would have been different for even the client to be out of the house for 4 hours between, like, let's say 2 and 6. And then I could have went back. My wife and I were actually going to do it that day. Um, but now it's like you come at 4 and somebody's supposed to vacate their house 4 to 8. They have mobility challenges. Like, where are they supposed to go? What are they supposed to do? I mean, it's just, at least during the day, they could go to the office house and, or there's things that are open, or, whatever. But we're talking about people in their 60s, mid 60s, um, late 60s. Yeah. Piss poor planning leads to poor performance. But it's nothing. I can only control what I can control. And it's okay for me to be disappointed. I mean, fuck. Seems like the world's chalked up to a lot of fucking disappointment lately. From everything, the election, to everything, everything. Just seems like it's been one continuous shit show for the most part. Except we find these moments, these pockets outside of the news and outside of other places where the good stuff is happening. Like, I went and visited my friend's dad. He's had a surgery, and I know he's listening. I hope he's listening. Shout out to my trucking man. And so went and visited with his mom and his dad, and he seems to be doing better. And you know, he was smiling. His grip strength, I got him to squeeze my fingers. But yeah, things are looking up. That's a positive. That's the time I enjoy. Yeah, I was actually trying to get my wife to go back so they could meet my wife, but it got late. Um, with all the stuff we do. Yeah, busy taking care of people. But that's what we enjoy doing. We are givers, servers. Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, I'm recording Unfiltered Friday. What day is it? Yeah, it's really all run together. Um, did not get any Ubering done this week. However, I did register my car, which I need to submit that new tag to Uber. Thanks for reminding me. Unfiltered Friday. And that doesn't go there. I had to go to a town that I don't normally go to often, but because we're in a different county in this side, be quiet, sugar. If you guys hear, tell her, sugar, be quiet. One, two, three, sugar, be quiet. All right, back to the story. And everybody had the same idea that day. Everybody was paying taxes, registering vehicles, something, because it was lying. I mean, this office is small. And so the line, like, wrapped around, it's like, how do you wrap around in one hallway? So it was odd, but met some nice people there. Can't remember what we were talking about, but it was all relevant. I can tell you that. And that kind of leads. Um, we were kind of getting some weather, but it was weird because it was kind of cold but hot, and then misty. But I was in this new town and they have Atwoods. And I was like, oh, I need to go check and see if they got marshmallows because I love Mallow Pop. If you guys haven't had it, they used to sell it at Five Below, and you get a bag of Mallow Pop. It's like the Lucky Charm marshmallows in a bag, but I enjoy them with a protein shake because they're only like 88 calories for the bag. You know, it's got some sugar in there. Um, Good after a workout. Just put a handful of marshmallows in, take a drink of either the caramel or the cake batter. Mm, scrumptious. But Atwoods sells ginormous bags of these because Five Below, when they stopped selling them, it was like, I had to, I couldn't get my fix. But then I found um, mallow, man, I forget the name of this, but they're called cereal marshmallows, and they have them at Walmart, and they're like 3 something a box. Not as good on the price as the mallow pop, and they taste kind of not as good. Put it to you that way. Although my father was generous enough to order me a bag of these mallow pops, little individual snack size bags at only 45 calories. Yeah, I went through those, me and my daughter, because she too is a fan. But yeah, I went and got her a bag. When she saw them, I put them on her bed this evening, and she goes, "You must love me." I go, "You're absolutely correct. I do love you more than anything." Yeah. But it also gave me a chance to check out a new park. Hey, I needed to get some exercise in. And I was going to go to the gym because they have the same gym that I go to. It's part of a healthcare facilities. The ones I used to manage, they're called big boxes. And they have like, you know, multiple service lines and then a gym attached. And your key fob, if you're a gym membership, you get to go. And then our insurance plan actually covers it this year. Boom. What's better than that? Not much to me. That's what they need to do. Man, you should. Like, healthier employees, better output. They should provide fucking therapy too, counseling. I'd be down for it. I think if you work in certain departments on healthcare, I think it should be kind of mandatory. Yeah, almost like we used to have to mandatory round. You should have to have a mandatory therapy session once a month at least. But anywho, I was like, skip the gym. Let's go find a park. And I knew because I actually started off at that clinic when we first moved in from Austin. And so I knew there was a park somewhere close there and started driving and went back up in there. And um, other than getting kind of red clay, the red clay strays, they do call it the Red Dirt Festival. Other than getting red clay on my white on clouds, which are trashed and garbage anyway, I need to throw them away. Just need to take the expensive soles out of them that I bought. But on cloud, no bueno. Let me tell you, this pair of Brooks right here, the special pair, the St. Patty's Day specials. I got those, wore them all the time to the gym, walking a lot. I wore them for the Mammoth March. That's why they are there with the Mammoth March doodad, metal trinket. But they fucking are still way better than like on clouds I had maybe it wasn't long, maybe 3 or 4 months. And, you know, like they got holes in the heels, the soles. I mean, they were comfortable. I'll give them that. But they just don't hold up. And so for Christmas, the wife got me another set of Brooks. Not those kind, but, well, yes, technically. She got me the Launch series, which is the series that I wear, size 9. Anyone ever needs to donate some Brooks, Launch, size 9, or Brooks wants to sponsor, size 9. I got the Texas edition ones, like the Texas flag editions ones, the tie dye ones, the St. Patty Day ones. And my wife this year she got me kind of normie colors like this off gray, blue, black, which I guess she likes them. That's okay. Um, and she got me the wrong size. When I have 3 pair, she could look at. So I had to exchange them. They didn't even have any where in our town. And so, and all the traveling we've been doing, I was able to swap them out in the woodlands, luckily. But they did have this other cool black and white pair in the launch, and I was like, damn, they didn't have them in my size. And, also, my wife picked those out. So, you know, try to keep it original. But walking, I needed to walk. Red clay on the on clouds. But they had a really cool walking area park. Like they had some tennis courts, basketball goals, and like this one section. And you take off on this trail, and then it splits and goes a different way. And I made like one loop that way, and then there was another way I could have gone. And I'm just telling you, there was some real gems and beauty in there. And um, I got to one side of the park, and they had a little half pipe, like a little mini ramp for people to skate. And but it was like starting to mist, and I'm like on the far, pretty far. I should have pinned my car. Next time I go there, I need to pin my car because I didn't see any signs, any trail signs. But they got like a little pond. They got 2 play areas, I think, in 2 different places. But some cool bridges and this beautiful waterfall. If you go to I don't know if I put it on IG. If you're in my WhatsApp group, you saw it there. Or if anybody from the fitness community for next levels in there, then yeah. Um, but it was nice. You know, it's yeah, going out somewhere different, even if it's only a 20 or 30 minute town away. You know, go out and explore it. Explore the beauty. Keeps it interesting. Makes it not so. Then it's something. It's an adventure. And then another one was my wife and I got to walk a different park that she's never really walked. Um, so we did that together. I wasn't in the best mood on that walk. We didn't really talk much because we were both listening to our respective things. But yeah, she got her wires crossed and missed the part where it was like, "Hey, don't wake me up because I will meet you there." Because she had some other plans, which I kind of knew, but she didn't tell me about. And yeah, it put me in a little meh for the day, but I try not to let it impact me too much. But it was just one of those days. Ugh. And it was like night capped with something that was a sore spot between her and I. And it was just, oh, perfect way to end a kind of fucked up day. Hmm. Yeah. because it's one of those things like I was sleeping well. Like I woke up, I can't remember what time, but I had bad sciatica pain and I had just gotten back to sleep well and was dreaming and she woke me up and I believe what is it if somebody wakes you up from REM sleep, it's almost like you got no sleep at all, or at least it can feel like it. And so that was you know, a whole thing because what was it somebody was saying like if you can if like the first couple of hours of your day set the tone for the day. Um, and I had this conversation with my wife, about her like waking up a little bit earlier, because she sleeps until the alarm. Where, like me, tomorrow's my day to take my daughter. So, regardless of how late it is, even though I'd like to get to sleep, I get up at 5 on my day. Um, because if you can control the first 2 hours of your day, put them with positivity, means I can come in while I'm getting ready, stretch, or journaling. I turn on NLU. It's like 20 minutes, usually 20, 30 minutes. But turn that on, get the self improvement going right into the brain, except for sometimes, you know, sometimes they say some things that are, or, but yeah, you get the self improvement going into the brain, stretch, journal. You feel like you got time. Because then I get my daughter up at 6:15. So I've had an hour and 15 minutes to do my thing, you know? Man shit. Which is usually how it starts. That's my alarm clock is the old tummy. Might be TMI, but hey, when it's time to dookie, that's your wake up call. I'm regular, you could say. So yeah, it's like you get a chance to get put together, you know? Feel like boom, you got your stuff going. But when you get woken up from REM sleep and, you know, it's, mm, I guess, not the time to argue who heard what, who was listening, who wasn't. Basically, irritate myself even more. Just sometimes nod your head and I'm like, no, you go. I'll get ready and I'll meet you. And then, she had other ideas and plans that when I wanted to be working out, she wanted to be doing something else. And um, I ended up in the parking lot for an hour and a half journaling and being annoyed and listening to podcasts. But, you know, so then we ended up getting the workout later because then we had to go pack up everything, then go walk the park, then get our daughter, and then go back since they didn't fully bomb it and spray and only sprayed. Go back and get him enough couple of plates and dishes and whatnot. But it was like, you know, never ending. it seemed like. Because it was like, hey, yeah, because the past couple of times we gone shopping, he's forgotten mayonnaise. And my wife and I, oh, yeah, that same day I had to go return something for him, return two things for my dad. And so while I was in Walmart, I was like, oh, you keep forgetting Dukes. I'm going to get you Dukes. Um, so I got him that. But then on the way back, um, we're driving. We got my daughter some food, and he wanted some food, um, and then he asked if we could stop and get him a case of his protein shakes. He has a protein shake a day. One of those 30 grams, kind of like Buck used to have. But even though it was busy, I went in and did it. You don't do it now, you got to do it another day. But yeah, then we did that and kind of got him a few things because he likes to drink out of a mason glass and, with ice and stuff like that. And just got him a little more comfortable, which was kind of cool, and gave my dad and my daughter a chance to spend some time like alone, um, which is usually her browsing, looking at a Lego set that costs $355. Yeah. So that's why my wife was like, "No, it was already late. We were like, we got to get home because I wanted to go back and visit my friend's dad and have him meet my wife." And but after all that too, my wife feels gross, and men, if you're listening, women are you got those quirks. We're like, hey, if we're dirty, it's because we're working. Women like to be a little more put together. I want to go there feeling gross. And what else has that all led into? Because I cannot remember the days and how it's going. Mm. Which led into, I guess, maybe today. I don't even know what I did yesterday. Hmm. Yeah, I've been having some brain farts. Like, in terms of, even in my journal, I had a couple of entries where I wrote like 12/5 something. Like, I was like back in December and we're in January. I was like, man, yeah, that's why I say it does feel like a continuation. But yeah, I don't know what I did yesterday. Maybe one of those things. And today was spent getting ready for Texas, always, East Texas especially. We always get this wonky ass end of January, sometimes February. I remember it snowed Valentine's Day, I think, one day. um, but we're expecting some sort of weather incident and living out where we live. There's concern with loss of power, so I was going and filling up propane, and everybody was out of propane. It took me four places to find a propane tank, and then running a few other errands for my dad, and visiting with him while my wife and daughter were getting things from Sam's, while my mother is prepping for this whole, cold snap. It's like, you know, let's make sure everything's getting charged because tomorrow will be the last day. I guess it's like Friday night into Saturday morning and then Sunday. So you got to make sure everything's charged. But tomorrow will be for me, at least, will be probably maybe I might try to get some Uber in. Depends. It depends. Um, and maybe some Uber, but also it's going to be we got to go back and put like clean out the poison from the extermination out of all the cabinets, put all the dishes and food back. Yeah, fun times. And then, of course, we need to like clean his bathtub, and then like him and my dad, because they live in the same community, or any of the other people we check on, we need to make sure that they fill their tubs with water for flushing the toilet in case they lose power. Make sure they got plenty of blankets and, you know, yada, yada, yada. Make sure our old people are taken care of. And speaking of old people, you guys, I don't know, I'm pretty sure I've discussed on here about becoming a death doula. And last night, I ended up being like 3 hours. I think it was supposed to be an hour to an hour and a half, but it went long. And it was like the level one uh, class, is what they call it. Level one family therapy. Um, but, you know, depending on where you're at and if they deem you worthy, like you feel like this is a calling, because she was a hospice nurse. Um, I cannot remember her name, Summers something, and she's got a book called The Good Death, which I need to get. Um, but talking about the death doula, the role, what it entails, kind of some of the training, and if you're in a certain spot and you think you have the experience, um, I think they invite you to I filled out an application because I definitely 100% in, but you get, I don't know if it's by invite or everybody gets it. I don't think it is. I think it's by invite. But the next week I have the practicum, not, well, it's forget what they call it, not practicum, but something to practice. It's like the next steps. And then, I guess they'll whittle it down to the people they want to take, giving on some of their answers, their responses. And, for me, I'm like, I witnessed my first death at 7. Uh, found family members overdosed when I was 8 or 9. Um, I grew up around addicts and outlaws, and worked in an ER when I was 25 years old. Spent 6 years in level one trauma center downtown Austin, ER. Managed clinics, which we had people expire there a couple of times in the parking lot. Well, one arrived expired. And then Buck. We had my grandparents, and then Buck. But this program, it it's a lot more than, you're not the caregiver, which is kind of what I've done, but you're kind of like a resource to the caregiver. Because, like if the hospice nurse comes once a week and family does 98% of the caregiving, um, and a lot of it they don't know. And so you're like kind of like a liaison teacher, resource, and, you know, I guess they'll tell you how much you help with the actual caregiving parts, but it's kind of like consulting. And some hospice companies are actually, when people go on hospice, they'll say, "Do you want an end of life doula or not?" And you take care of all the non medical stuff. But I have a medical background, as did this person, and she teaches it kind of in a manner of certain diseases, how they look and how they present near the end and the transition phase, um, when the body starts to shut down, what's normal, what's not, what to expect, what not. Because you got dementia, you got different kinds of patients with different issues, cancer patients. She has an oncology background, but I'm uh, kind of 100% sure that this is for me, my calling. Um, and it's not the caregiving part, although that's some of what we do and we've done. But I'm going to be 50, and even though I'm in good shape, it's not what I want to be doing. But I have a bigger vision for this. But I need to get myself started and out there working with hospice people and or a company. And so I'm excited about getting the invite to the next step and then deciding if they'll accept me, because I believe she's the founder of the certification, the NEDA, NEDA, I forget what it is, stands for. Um, but yeah, it was, I, I don't know. I just feel like it's me because there's a lot more to it and how you do it. You're not just there then, but you're there to help. And there's some things you can do to help set the family up and at ease kind of beforehand and different things like that. Because you're not always just around right there. It might be somebody, hey, you got 6 months to live, and you're a kind of person of like helping with some of these things, like, just making sure everything's set up that way when they go. Um, Family knows what to do, but then if they have anything that needs to be resolved, they can resolve it through talking, questions, and as a podcaster, that is right up my alley. And with their permission, of course, um, I want, should they want the world to hear their story, I want the world to hear their story. So I'm all about it. I want to take that end of life doula and level it up with a podcast and tell these people stories. So, yeah. And for those of you who know me, I think it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, if you don't think I'm that kind of person to be a resource to others, then, you know, that's kind of in my life. From admin in the military to admin, my job was always making sure that other people had the tools and resources to do their job so that the outcome is achieved or the people receive the best care they could. So sometimes it's holding standards. Um, Sometimes it's building relationships. That's all it is. And that's what I love to do. So, any hoodles, Daddy's got to get up at 5 a.m. It's already kind of late. I hear my wife selecting something on the television. I got to make sure it's not trash so I can wind down properly and get this thing going. So I still got to put it together. So I don't know when you're listening to it. We'll just see how fast I get it out. Maybe I'll put it out tonight at midnight, old school style, or Maybe I 7 p.m. it. Who knows? But if you have suggestions, if you like it better one way or the other, send me something. Let me know. You can find me anywhere. Instagram, Threads, X, not very active, Facebook. Send me a message. So, until next time, go out and be the person you want to meet. Peace.
Asteroid of Fear.